Today I want to talk to market gardeners. Now, those of you who garden as a hobby, backyard gardens, little small gardens, you can listen in. You can check this out. And as I'm talking to my fellow colleagues out there, people who market garden for a living, maybe you have a CSA, or maybe you can look. If you don't know what a CSA is, just do a quick put market garden CSA. If you don't know what that is, those of you who don't do this, those of you who sell direct, those of you who do farmers markets. And I'm speaking to those of you who do this for a living. Now we're almost to October. And if you look around me, I still have a lot of things going. And we've had a little bit of a halt since midsummer or late summer in August. And when some of our cash crops, they kind of hit the end of their cycle and we started moving into the greens. And I won't go into all the things. We had some blister bug issues with some greens, which was really very disappointing. And now we're 2 to 3 weeks delayed in getting stuff to some of our customers. And that's disappointing. And that is one of the reasons it kind of prompted me to make this video. Those of you who market garden for a living, have families, been doing it probably maybe far longer than me. And one of the things that's real, whether you're a giant monocrop farmer or whether you're doing small farming or small market gardening like this, burnout is a real possibility. And it's easy to get burned out. And I'll tell you why. Because if you have a little bit of a perfectionist tendency, like I do, and you're worried about weeds, invasive weeds that come in, and you constantly, I got to make sure that's taken care of. There's always the succession planting, the next thing that needs to be planted. I'm looking at maybe a CSA situation where, again, if those of you who don't know what a CSA is, look it up. There's a lot of pressure that goes along with that because people are paying up front and they're getting a certain amount of vegetables each week because they paid into you up front. It's kind of what a CSA is. There's a lot of pressure with that. And not to mention the financial burdens of bringing income to your family each and every month. So I'm talking to you, each and every one of you out there that do some sort of agriculture where you're doing a market garden like we do right here at Whirlwind Family Farm. And there's that pressure to produce, that pressure to have the certain number of crops that you need each month. And what I'm saying is you need to give yourself a break every now and then. And I've listened to several different market gardeners who say they set a hard cutoff time each and every day. Maybe it's 5 p.m., 4 p.m. They may start at 7:30 in the morning and they make sure they're done at 4. Now it's a little bit more difficult for my wife and I because it's just she and I. We don't have any employees. This market garden is right next to our home, which is a blessing, and that also can be difficult. And what I mean by that, if your market garden is right next to where you live, any of you that do this for a living know there's always the next thing to do. There's always the next thing to do. There may be drip tape, drip lines that need to be replaced. There always needs to be weeding or hoeing. There always needs to be that next succession plant. There needs to be something laid out as far as reaching out to customers. It needs to be done. Maybe a way that you're doing marketing. There's always something. There's the next thing. Trellising, I have about 5 different little tomato plants that are almost, these are indeterminate. They need to be trellised, and I haven't had the right string for it. I need to go into town today and get the right string. They're almost laying on the ground, and that's weighing in the back of my mind. It's just little things in a market garden that always have to be done. So in this video, I'm talking to you market gardeners. Give yourself that time when you can get away. I realize that sometimes getting away can be expensive, so you don't have to do that. You can take times when you can go in, maybe go not into town or close by, get you a cup of coffee, spend some time with friends. Maybe you're involved with your church and different activities, and you can't have it singularly focused on the market garden all the time because it can quickly become burnout. And standing inside of what something you should typically enjoy, you start to dread. I know because it's happened to me. And that's the thing where you got to go, okay, we're not striving perfection here. We're striving for a good product each and every week, good organic vegetables for our customers, and that's what we shoot for. And there's times when insects will go against everything that you're trying to do, and it's extremely frustrating. I'm about to do a video on that. I may go live to talk about some of our frustrations we've had with blister bugs, which I understand are not just here in Texas, they're nationwide, all over the United States and even parts of South America. But back to my subject. Don't let yourself get into a routine that slowly wears you down and you're always striving for absolute perfection, because as any of you know, none of this is a perfect setting. None of this will be perfect all the time. There's going to be those crops that don't do well, and you're going to have years when crops do well. And sometimes the season when your market garden does the very best is sometimes when you're close to burnout, because there's a lot of harvesting going on, the cleaning, um, there's washing that has to be done with certain types of lettuces, salad mixes, so that needs to be done. And my wife and I have seen that many times. And then transporting those vegetables to customers. And again, and if you're taking time, maybe it's a Saturday where you're doing a farmer's market, and that's time away from family, that's time away from your home. It's necessary, but it's taking time that normally would be leisure, and now it's just work. So my advice is, pick that time when you can get away from it. Pick that time when you can in the afternoon when you go, I'm done. I don't have to go to dark every single day. And that's happened to me many days out here, especially here in Central Texas where we have summers that are so hot, is that I'll start off at daybreak, go till about 11:30 a.m., 12 noon, and we get up to 98, 100 degrees out here, and it just becomes unsafe. And then around 6 p.m. to dark, I continue on with my task because it's just not safe. But when the weather starts to get cool like it is now, the temptation is to push hard all day long, all the way through to get everything done. And that's a recipe for absolute burnout. So we're heading towards that season when some of you are wrapping up for the year. It's the time to find that time away, do something different. I know in more northern climates, a lot of things are wrapping up in market gardens. Here in Central Texas, sometimes we have things that go till January, and that can be a lot of work. But the good news is it's more focused on the greens, the different lettuces, and um, going in with spinach and radishes and things like that. So that's my advice. Find your time, find your other things to do. It doesn't always have to be the garden. And many of you may be better in that than me. I'm bad about that perfection and bad about pushing it beyond what it should be. So that's my advice. Pick the time to stop, and if you reach the season where you're supposed to kind of be winding it down, wind it down. And if you're like me and you live about 100 yards from where your market garden is, some days pick the time when everything's done. And for us, it's all fenced in with a deer fence. I call it shut the gate and walk out. Shut the gate and walk out and have the downtime and go do something with your family. Go do something where you can just enjoy and do something different. And those of us who do this, love our garden and we love to see it when it does well, but there are times to shut it off. So it's a grind at the end. We get here at the end of the season. And those of you that have the big monocrops, some of you, this is your biggest, toughest time, or it's wheat or it's corn. And there's operations going on throughout the night because harvest is not going to wait. It's got to be done, especially with those wheat products. So thanks again. We always appreciate, and for those of you who are not market gardeners, thanks for listening to this one as I'm talking to those who do market garden. Thanks for listening in and seeing some of the things that we deal with in bringing a product to a customer each week. We appreciate that. Thanks for finding our channel. It means a lot to Whirlwind Family Farm when you like, subscribe, and certainly hit that bell for notification. Share as well. We have a lot of other videos. You can check one out right here that'll take you further along in that education process of gardening. Blessings over you, your family, and your garden. Talk to you soon from Whirlwind Family Farm.